In the heart of an ancient, forgotten monastery, a sealed door stands as a silent sentinel to a mystery centuries old. Behind its weathered wood and rusted hinges lies a secret chamber, untouched by human hands for generations. What forbidden knowledge or forgotten treasures await those brave enough to break the seal and venture into the unknown?
The Taj Mahal. Now, this one might come as a shocker to you. I mean, the Taj Mahal is a symbol of love, you know, what's so scary about it? But in reality, the Taj Mahal is riddled in secrets. In fact, it has a number of mysterious locked doors in the basement, and no one can enter them. In fact, there are 1,089 rooms. Some need to stay locked and closed forever. Well, why? One theory is that the rooms are made up of marble. Too much exposure to carbon dioxide could transform them into calcium carbonate. If that happens, then the marble will literally crumble, and the 4 towers that surround the Taj Mahal will collapse. So in this case, the doors need to stay closed if you don't want to destroy this beautiful building. In our 9th spot, we have room 666. Honestly, I think you already understand why this room should never be opened. So according to a local university legend, they used to have a dorm room number 666. 2 girls were staying in that room, and sadly one of them took her own life. The other roommate stayed in that room alone, but complained that her dead roommate was haunting her, and so she requested a new room. Apparently in the middle of the night, she would hear sounds of scratching as if someone was crawling along the floor. Another time she heard her ex-roommate laugh in her ear. As a result, the school decided to board up the room, and it's no longer used. Moving on to number 8, we have the Great Sphinx of Giza. The Sphinx is a massive structure with the body of a lion and a head and face of a human. It is around 240 feet long, 20 feet wide, and 66 feet tall. Most researchers believe that the Sphinx was meant to act as a guardian for the pharaoh Khafra, whose pyramid is located beside it. It may actually be his face that is on the Sphinx. Now, apparently there are 2 rectangular chambers under the Sphinx paws. These chambers were discovered by seismographs. It also revealed that there are 2 entrances to enter this chamber, but they are sealed shut. Of course, everyone wants to know what's behind these locked doors, but we might never know. Researchers refuse to open the chamber. Why? Well, some believe that opening the chamber will release a great Egyptian curse. But it's believed that these chambers will lead us to the Hall of Records, like a bunch of old scrolls from back in the day. They also believe that it may contain some information on the lost city of Atlantis. Honestly, it's 2021. Just crack open the chamber. Like, it can't get any worse. In our 7th spot, we have the Winchester House. The Winchester House is a mansion said to be haunted by a number of ghosts. Some are friendly, but some and most are malicious. It was built in 1886 and construction was ongoing. It was believed that the owner, Sarah Winchester, could communicate with ghosts, and they were the ones instructing her on how to build her house. According to her, the ghosts warned Sarah, saying that if she continued building, then she would live, but if she stopped, she would die. As a result, her house was always under construction. In the end, she had 160 rooms, 47 stairways, 17 chimneys, and 6 kitchens. So on and so on, you get it. While some of the rooms in her house remain boarded up and are never to be opened. That's because it's believed the spirits of some of the ghosts are locked in those rooms. Should you open the door, the ghost would escape. So yeah, let's please keep those doors locked. Coming in at number 6, we have the guest bedroom. So this story was shared on Reddit by a user whose grandmother sadly passed away in her guest bedroom. Towards the end of her grandmother's life, she was looking after her, and so the grandma lived with her. One morning she woke up to discover her grandmother had passed away in her sleep. Weeks later, she came home to find the grandmother's room wide open. She had always kept the room closed, since walking by reminded her too much of her grandmother. But every day she would return home and the door would be wide open. In fact, one day she walked by the open door and saw the shadow of her grandmother laying in bed. She was terrified and as a result, she keeps the door bolted shut.
Coming in at number 10, the Houska Castle pit. Located in the Czech Republic, the Houska Castle is considered to be one of the best preserved of its time. But despite its beautiful exterior, dark secrets are believed to lie beneath. Long ago when it was built, the castle was constructed on top of a giant pit, believed to be a gateway to hell. Now, why anyone thought it was a good idea to build on top of that, I'll never understand, but I guess they thought if they built on top of the hole, it would shut the gateway off from the living world. As the legend goes, when they started construction, all prisoners that were on death row were offered pardon if they agreed to be lowered by a rope into the bottomless pit. When the first prisoner was lowered, loud screams immediately rang through the town, and when he was pulled back up to the surface, he looked as though he had aged 30 years, his face wrinkled and his hair now white. Terrified of what lay beneath, the castle was built and the pit was never explored again. Next up at number 9, we have room 873. While many of us know Banff for the gorgeous, picturesque Rocky Mountains, in the famous Fairmont Hotel, there lies a dark secret. Room 873. As the story goes, years and years ago, an entire family was killed in this very room. After a long investigation, the room was refurbished and went back into the usual cycle. But soon after, hotel staff were receiving many disturbances about the room that sent their blood running cold. Guests said they would fall asleep only to be awoken by screams, and that when the lights turned off, bloody handprints would be found on the mirrors. Staff would rush to the room to investigate, but all seemed to have disappeared by the time they got there. Afraid of what lurked inside, the room was sealed shut and never to be entered again. And if you go there now, no trace of the room exists. There is only a long hallway where a door used to be, but if you knock along the wall, you'll hear a hollow noise where it is believed the room was once sealed many years ago. Next up, at number 8, Aramu Muru. Located roughly 35 kilometers from the city of Puno, the Aramu Muru is believed by many to be a portal to the gods. First discovered in the early 1900s, it's thought to have been built by the Incas, but no one actually knows what its original purpose was for. At the front of the structure lies a small doorway that is said to be a gate to the gods, and legend has it that the only way to get inside was with the possession of a golden disc that supposedly dropped from the sky. Then, once the disc was placed in a small depression in the door, the portal to another world would open and anyone who entered was never to be seen again. Well, none of these tales have truly been confirmed. Many locals believe in the folklore and will visit the door to ask for peace from the gods. But tread carefully. If it really is a portal to the gods, we have no idea what could be behind it. Next up, at number 7, Taj Mahal. Arguably one of the most famous mausoleums in the entire world, it was originally commissioned in 1631 by the Emperor Shah Jahan to house the tomb of his favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal. But despite its public attraction, there are actually 20 locked doors that have never been revealed to the public eye. Lots of speculation revolves around what could be behind these mysterious doors, but so far, no one knows for sure what. But with so much else open to the public, what is it about these rooms in particular they don't want us to see? Maybe it's for our own good. Next up, at number 6, the Brompton Cemetery. There are a few things it seems pretty safe to want to avoid, and mysteriously sealed mausoleums housing the dead seem pretty high up on that list for me, but apparently not for all. Located in West London in the Brompton Cemetery lies a tomb that some believe to be a fully functioning time machine. Yes, you heard that right. Inside the tomb lies a woman by the name of Hannah Courtois, who had inherited quite a fortune. She was supposedly a friend of Joseph Bonamy and Samuel Warner, the men who built the tomb, and as the story goes, these two men convinced her to finance the secret project with the promise of laying her down to rest inside once it was finished. Strangely, Warner died shortly after the construction finished, and some think he died after discovering something horrid inside inside the tomb, while others speculate that Bonamy killed him for revealing the secrets of the time machine itself. It is thought that it is Hannah's burial that is some kind of TARDIS capable of whisking one back to ancient Egypt, or even turning back the clock and providing youth to those who find it. All that is needed is a large bronze key, but as luck would have it, it has been missing since its creation 150 years ago.
Starting off this countdown at number 10 is York County, Pennsylvania. York County, Pennsylvania has become a popular tourist destination due to two circling urban legends that suggest it is the home to the 7 gates of hell. I've always wondered where the 7 gates of hell are. One legend claims that the area was once the home to an insane asylum that burned down with all the patients inside. The other legend claims that there was once an eccentric physician who built several gates along the path that led into the forest. The thing that these two stories have in common is that if you pass through all 7 of the gates located in the area, then you'll find your way into the underworld. Legend also says that no one has ever made it past the 5th gate, and this may be due to the fact that the gates are located on private property, so those who even attempt to cross it may just be the subject of a trespassing ticket. Worth it in my opinion. I'd like to try to get to gate 7.
In our number 9 spot today, we have the Actun Tunichil Muknal cave. I probably said that horribly wrong, so I apologize. This cave sits in the middle of the jungle in Belize and wasn't found until 1989. To even access the cave, you have to swim in and then wade up in the cave river for a kilometer. After this, once you walk another kilometer and a half past some huge boulders and many large rooms, one of which is known as the cathedral, you'll make it to the back of the cave where you'll find the skeletons of the ritual sacrifices made by the Maya in order to appease their gods from over 1,000 years ago. The skeletons are plentiful and they range in age, but they mostly all were sacrificed in the same way, which is a little too gruesome for me to say on YouTube. There's one skeleton that stands out in particular, however, and is known as the Crystal Maiden. This skeleton belonged to a boy and is unique in its positioning, as well as the fact that it has 2 crushed vertebrae, which suggests to researchers that this person may have died in a more violent way than the others. This skeleton has been laying in this cave for the last 1,100 years, which is long enough for it to have completely calcified, which gives it a sparkling appearance. The reason for the sacrifices are unknown, but it is believed that it was either to appease the gods of the underworld, or because those who were sacrificed were believed to be witches, so they were intentionally left there, unburied, so that their souls would be trapped. Regardless of whatever secrets this cave is holding, it is believed to be tied to the underworld in some way or another, and I have to agree that the evidence is compelling.
Sliding into the number 8 spot is the Masaya volcano. The Masaya volcano is located in Nicaragua and for years has been believed to be the mouth of hell. It is believed that some sort of god or sorceress or demon lives inside the fiery pit of the caldera. Due to the frequent and unpredictable eruptions from the volcano, it became quite feared by those who lived in the area surrounding it, and it became a place of human sacrifice in an attempt to appease whatever higher power was controlling the eruptions. In 1529, a man climbed to the top of the volcano and placed a cross up there as he was hoping it would call on Jesus to help, as well as work to exorcise whatever demon lived within the depths of the magma so as to stop the flowing lava. It was written in 1541 that the continuous volcanic activity must have been due to supernatural causes, and it was called the place from which the condemned are thrown by the demons. Sounds terrifying.
In our number 7 spot today, we have Mount Hekla. Mount Hekla is a stratovolcano that is located in South Iceland. This is an extremely active volcano site, which has probably not helped with the belief that it is an entrance to hell. There is an Anglo-Norman poem entitled Voyage of Saint Brendan, and in it, it mentions that this volcano is the prison of Judas, who was the apostle who famously betrayed Jesus, which is just not a good look for either Judas or this volcano. Birds flying around the volcano were once thought to be lost souls, and it was believed that the volcano was the meeting site for many witches who were intending to meet with the devil. All of these legends combined, it totally makes sense as to why people would think some sort of dark and evil powers lurk inside of this volcano, especially considering it is one of the most active volcanoes in Iceland.
Moving on to number 6, we have Lacus Curtius. Legend has it that this location in the middle of the Roman Forum is an entrance to the underworld. According to Roman historians, this pit appeared in the middle of Rome and nothing could fill it. This led to an oracle prophesizing that the pit would not close until a sacrifice was made, and if no sacrifice occurred, the abyss would destroy the Roman Republic. Of course, neither of these are great options, but one guy was willing to take one for the team. Not me. Marcus Curtius, who the site is now named after, realized that the strength of Rome relied on its weapons and the bravery of its citizens, so with weapons and a full suit of armor, he rode his horse straight into the pit where both of them perished. While he was of course regarded as a hero, it is said that he rode straight into the underworld. Is he a hero though? Or just a fool?
Let's get this list started in at number 10 with Houska Castle Pit. In the Czech Republic, there's a place known as the Chapel of the Houska Castle, and this is definitely a place you never want to visit. This building was constructed over a bottomless pit that is known as a gateway to hell. And I'm just so confused by the architect who decided to build a castle on a bottomless pit. It doesn't sound like, you know, the safest option. Anyways, the castle was built without running water, a kitchen, and it's not near any main road. Legends has it that when construction began, death row inmates were offered a pardon if they signed a consent form to be lowered by rope into the hole. They were supposed to report what they saw down there. Well, when the first person was lowered, he began to scream his head off and he was immediately pulled back up to the surface. But it looked like he aged about 30 years because he had a ton of wrinkles and his hair turned white. And now this castle is bolted off and locked so that no one can go inside. Not that you would really want to anyways. The Capuchin Crypt climbs onto this list at number 9. Located inside of the Capuchin Museum in Italy, there's a locked crypt, but people can go inside and take a look around. Inside of the crypt, there are bones and human remains from 4,000 dead Capuchin monks, and the bones are arranged in a strange but decorative way. There are a total of 6 rooms that are full of human bones, and some of the skeletons even have a rotting flesh on them. This might be the creepiest and the most morbid thing that I've ever seen. I think this door should be locked away forever, and we should never talk about this place. So, you know what? Let's move on and stop talking about it. Moving up on this list at number 8, we're talking about the unnumbered room in the Congress Plaza Hotel. It's located in Chicago, Illinois. There's a hotel that is full of mysteries. There are a ton of rooms that have been blocked off to the public because bad things happen in there. One of the biggest mysteries is an unnumbered room on the 12th floor. Rumors say that this room is so haunted and terrifying that it had to be completely sealed off. Staff members refuse to talk about this room, and no one really knows what goes on behind these sealed doors. All we know for certain is that we are a lot safer for not entering this room and for keeping it locked. Mysterious Cave comes in at number 7. This place is known as Dungeon Rock, which is located in the Linwoods in Massachusetts. So this story begins back in the 1600s when a pirate hid in this cave with his treasure. He lived there for a long time until a devastating earthquake caused boulders to fall and block the opening of the cave. So fast forward to today, the cave now has an iron door that mysteriously opens for a few hours during the day. The cave is very dark, wet, and cold. If you're brave enough, you can take the thin wooden steps that lead to the floor of the cave where you can go exploring. But be warned, this cave is reported to be extremely haunted by the trapped spirit of the pirate. There are rumors that can hear him screaming and you can hear him trying to dig himself out. Some people have even said that they've seen a phantom dressed in a red robe that will stalk you until you leave the cave. So you better leave them alone. Digging deep into this list at number 6, we have the Paris Catacombs. Technically these doors are unlocked during the day, so visitors and tourists can explore the catacombs, but I'm gonna suggest that we weld these doors shut. Why? Well, this mysterious place is a 200-mile network of old caves, tunnels, and pits that are full of skulls and bones from the dead. A lot of the catacombs are blocked up from the public, and it's actually illegal to explore these caves unsupervised. but there are a lot of adventure seekers who use hidden entrances located all around the city. However, there are a bunch of unlucky souls who decided to explore the caves on their own, but they ended up getting lost and dying down there. And because there are millions of tunnels, they will probably never be found. They're gonna become one of the skulls down there.
Number 10. Alexander the Great's friend. Okay, we didn't find Alexander the Great yet, but we did find the tomb of somebody close to him. That's pretty exciting. We're getting close. That's definitely a good first step. Back in 2012, over in Greece, archaeologists discovered a tomb that of course dates back to the time of Alexander himself. Now this tomb, the Costa tomb as they're referring to it as, is beautiful. It's covered in beautiful painted scenes depicting ancient Greek mythology. It's wonderful. Whoever was buried here got a mosaic, so they must have been quite important. If you get pillars after death, you must have been a leader in some way, shape, or form. Since the tomb was open, researchers have found 5 bodies, all important figures in history, but none are confirmed to be that of Alexander the Great. Just, you know, close acquaintances. That's not bad. Number 9. Queen Nearit. Just over a year ago, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities announced the discovery of Queen Nearit, aka the wife of King Teti, aka the first pharaoh of Egypt's 6th dynasty. They found her burial shaft and there were coffins, mummy artifacts, all dating back to the New Kingdom, meaning that the Saqqara necropolis was used in the late period, but now apparently it was also used in the New Kingdom as well. That's news to all of us here, you know, in this decade. Perhaps the most questionable find was that of a 4-meter long scroll. That was the 17th chapter of the Book of the Dead. Yeah, let's not touch that maybe. I don't know, just an idea off the top of my head. As well as funerary masks, miniature boats, and 50 coffins, this thing was fully loaded. Again, this is the first time 3,000-year-old coffins were found in the Saqqara necropolis, and there's probably a lot more. Number 8. Necklace from the Egyptian afterlife. We're all curious what happens after you die, but nobody celebrates the end of your days like ancient Egyptians. Like I mentioned earlier, they would paint doors, sometimes they would leave valuables. It's all sacred and beautiful. And of course, any new tomb that we discover provides more hints as to what lies beyond. Maybe. An ancient necropolis was discovered a few years ago in Egypt. It contains dozens of coffins and a necklace that holds a message from the afterlife. Yeah, let's grab that, I guess. Let's take a peek. That's getting cursed 101, I guess. This site is around 2,000 years old, and right now they're in the process of excavating it as we speak. But so far, the tombs and the artifacts found belong to an ancient priestess. A message from the afterlife is pretty spectacular. How far do we need to go before we get cursed? You know what I mean? Let's just let people rest. Just kind of stop opening these tomb doors, perhaps. Number 7, Poland double tomb. All right, time to get cozy for this one. Grab a friend, I guess. All around the world, there have been only a handful of 2-person tombs discovered, and it's exactly what you think it looks like. This is the only one that's found in Poland. Back in 2015, archaeologists discovered this 2,000-year-old necropolis that had been sitting there for centuries just at peace until we came along. Now we're like, hey, wake up, what's going on? Is that a jewel? Nice. Message from the dead? Sweet. All mine now. Now we gotta open things up and lick rocks, whatever geologists do, I don't know. And lo and behold, there were around 120 tombs discovered in total. That's a lot of souls, a lot of curses. They were all used from the 1st century to the 3rd. Now among these 120 tombs were a 2-in-1 rather, that stood out. A tomb that archaeologists referred to as princely. The pre-wars culture in Kujawi were in fact Celtic, so their burial process was Celtic as well. Now it's a little odd of a find. A Stone Age Celtic necropolis in Poland. You're like, where do I even begin? What year is this? Where do I start? Number 6, Celtic warrior shield. And another recent find, here we go. This one was referred to as the most important British Celtic art object of the millennium. So not a bad title if you ask me. A little wordy, but you earned it. An Iron Age chariot burial was discovered in Yorkshire a few years ago, and researchers were excavating a house development in Pocklington, and then all of a sudden they find a soldier's tomb. Awesome. Can we go home today? I think we're done for the day. Let's call it. The soldier was laid on a chariot with the Celtic shield laid over top. Now this shield was also dated back to 175 BC. Yeah, a lot to unpack right here. I mean, first of all, most Iron Age shields up until this point didn't have a scalloped edge, but for some reason this one here did. Up until this point we thought metal shields were only used for ceremony, but this one's been used, repaired, and then used again in battle. There are clear sword marks, each that tell a story. Yeah, let's just go poke around a Celtic warrior tomb. What could possibly go wrong?
Starting us off in at number 10 with a mysterious temple door. India's most sacred and popular temple is known as Padmanabhaswamy Temple. It is by far the most visited temple in the country. However, inside of its heavily guarded gates is a locked room with hidden treasure and potentially a deadly curse. The temple has 6 enormous secret vaults that contains priceless treasure. These vaults are known as Chambers A through F. A 7-person committee was only able to open 5 of these vaults, but they were all exceptionally difficult to open, even with modern technology. Chamber B is the only door that they were unable to open. No one knows what is locked behind its gates. Some conspiracy theorists think that Chamber B is extremely holy, or that it has many valuable items with unknown origins. Some even say that it may contain the largest undiscovered treasures in the entire world. And at number 9 is a sealed mausoleum located in Brompton Cemetery in London. Might be a fully functioning Victorian time machine. Well, that's what people are claiming at least. For 150 years this tomb has been sealed, and on the outside it is covered with ancient Egyptian gods and hieroglyphs. Some people believe that the ancient Egyptians have discovered the secrets to time travel, also eternal youth and eternal life. But the answer are located forever behind the heavy doors of this mausoleum, because no one is actually able to open this bronze door. If living forever is behind those doors, we need to make technology now to have it opened. Next up, at number 8, we have the Sphinx Hall of Records. The Great Sphinx of Giza is a limestone statue of a mythical creature that has the body of a lion and a head of a human. But this world famous statue has a lot more mysteries than meets the eye. Under the left foot of the Sphinx is a chamber that people are calling the Hall of Records. Apparently this hall contains documents about our ancient civilization and some information regarding Atlantis. The only problem is this chamber is behind a door that no one can open. The Egyptian government is blocking people from accessing this top secret room. But why? I'm really curious to know what exactly is in this room. What are they hiding? And I think we're entitled to know, what's behind those doors. Sealed chambers in ancient Aztec site in Mexico City takes us to number 7. Archaeologists in Mexico have discovered a passageway that leads to 2 sealed chambers. These chambers were found in one of the largest temples of the ancient Aztec capital. Does this mean there's going to be a major excavation in the near future? Well, not exactly. The tunnel that leads us to the chambers measures in at 18 inches wide and about 5 feet high. There are also extremely heavy boulders that are blocking our access to these chambers, but they were able to remove 1 3-ton rock away from the mouth of the tunnel, and they discovered a large box in a hollow space beneath it. This box contained gold ornaments, stone knives, and the bones of children and eagles. I mean, children and eagles? What the heck is going on? Do we really want to know what's behind, that sealed chamber? I don't think so. Let's keep that damn thing locked forever. And now at number 6, we have a mysterious rock with an ancient door. I mean, take a look at this rock. This is probably one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. It was found in a mountain region in southern Peru near Lake Titicaca. It is located in an area that is known as a Valley of the Spirits or Stone Forest, and that's because there are a bunch of strange rock formations that resemble people, buildings, animals, dinosaurs, and other structures. The door is known as the Gate of the Gods, and it measures in at exactly 7 meters in height by 7 meters in width. According to the local legend, heroes would pass through this gate so that they can have immortality. But of course, this is a local legend and the gate is now sealed. Svalbard, a global seed vault, brings us to number 5. This seed vault is built in an abandoned Arctic coal mine deep inside of a mountain. It was designed to preserve the world's crops and plants in the event of a global disaster. It contains about 1 million packets of seeds from almost every country in the world. I was so fascinated when I was researching this. It was built underneath the permafrost so that it can stand the test of time. But apparently the architects and engineers who built this thing didn't take global warming into consideration, and that's because the permafrost is now melting, and the water has a high chance of flooding the vault. So in this case, the door can be opened, but no one should open it because all of the seeds will be ruined. But then what happens when it's time to open it? Everything's just gonna be ruined. But I guess hopefully we don't get to that point. Area 51 floats onto this list at number 4. For years, Area 51 has been the center of many conspiracy theories about extraterrestrial life and UFO sightings. It is a highly classified remote area located in Nevada, and its purpose is actually unknown. Well, not too long ago, Google Earth found a mysterious crater-shaped hole in the ground near Area 51 that is unlike anything I've ever seen. Once this image circulated around the internet, of course conspiracy theorists from around the world started to speculate that this crater is an entrance to an underground military base. Because why not? If you look close enough, you can also see that it has a large thin object poking out in the middle of it. It kind of looks like a man-made tower. This obviously isn't a natural phenomenon, so what exactly is happening here at Area 51? Sadly, I don't think we're ever going to find out. The first emperor's tomb climbs onto this list at number 3. There are hundreds of pyramids found in China, and most of them have been covered by nature and left unexplored. However, the first emperor's tomb has technically been explored, but only around the edges where the Terracotta Army was found. Chinese archaeologists know exactly where the entrance is, but they're actually refusing to go inside. They are speculating that the tomb is laced with booby traps or an ancient curse. It is believed that the emperor sealed all of the workers that created the tomb inside so they can never reveal to others what is actually inside of the temple. I'm betting that there are priceless artifacts and a huge pile of treasure inside, but for me, yeah, I would be way too afraid to go inside, even if there's like $1 trillion worth of treasures. Because what's the point of being a trillionaire if you don't survive? Banff Springs Hotel room 873 creeps into number 2. If you're planning a trip to Banff, Alberta, Canada, and you want to stay at a beautiful Banff Springs hotel, you should probably stay away from room 873. This is known as the missing room, and according to the story, a family was brutally killed in this room decades ago. After a very long investigation, the room was refurbished and booked out to travelers, but soon after, people kept reporting creepy disturbances. Apparently, guests would fall asleep in the room, but then they would just wake up to a very loud scream. All of the lights would turn on, and they would find the bloody handprints on the mirrors. I would be totally freaking out. But by the time the staff made it to the room, everything would just be back to normal. Because of this, the hotel got a really bad reputation, so they decided that, you know what, it might be a really good idea to just seal off this horrific room and not allow people inside. The door was removed and the opening was covered with drywall, and the staff are forbidden to talk about room 873. Sealed doors in the Taj Mahal tops this list in at number 1. The Taj Mahal, well, it's considered as a symbol of eternal love, and it is listed as one of the 7 wonders of the world. I would absolutely love the opportunity to one day see it. It's a beautiful piece of architecture, but there are a lot of secrets located within its walls, so let's explore. The Taj Mahal has hundreds of rooms that have been sealed off to the general public. These rooms are supposedly kept closed since the time of Shah Jahan, and they have been sealed with brick and lime. If you ever visited the Taj Mahal, you know that these 2 staircases leading to the first floor are kept locked and barred. But why? These rooms are making me super curious, and I say we must bust down all those doors to see what's behind them. But maybe, just maybe, secrets are kept secrets because maybe we shouldn't want to know what's behind there.
Number 5, the sitting man. Okay, of all the tombs to find, all the doors to open, these legendary age-old necropolises, this one would scare the shit out of me, I think, probably the most. Back in 2005, researchers found a Mayan tomb in Honduras dating to around 650 AD, and the body was in a chair, and it was sitting up. That's horrifying. I would have ran out of that tomb so fast if that's the first thing that I saw. This man was an elite member of the Mayan Empire. He passed away around 650 AD, and his legs were crossed, and he was rocking jade jewelry sitting up. It's beautiful, haunting, definitely, like what the f, but also beautiful, sure. The tomb also had to be positioned upright. Now these types of tombs are quite rare to find, but the fact that this one also has somebody sitting cross-legged, double rare. Hit that thumbs up for double rare. Would you ever walk into a tomb? Like, would you ever do this as a job? Open these ancient doors and just find anything? Sound off below. This is a terrifying job. Number 4, Paris catacombs. These catacombs date back to the late 1700s and they're literally full of bones, so it's no surprise that some entrances and compartments have been blocked off, hopefully, ideally forever. The catacombs history is pretty twisted. When the city's cemeteries were filling up back in the 1700s, and I mean that in a literal sense, filling up piles of bodies, officials began moving contents all over the city city to these, abandoned mines. Then the catacombs were opened in 1809. What a fun family excursion that must have been. Awesome. They designed the catacombs with the walls of skulls to ensure that visitors would meditate on death once they arrived. Gotta say, I think they nailed it. I think they pretty much nailed that mark. We're all gonna think of death when we look at a wall of skulls. I'm sure everybody who visits thinks of nothing else. In order to ensure that this was the vibe of the room, there's a phrase carved above the entrance, and it translates to, "Stop, this is the empire of the dead." Awesome, say no more, I'll be on my merry way. Cheers. I'm like, entrance of the dead. No, it's not the exit, we're good, it's this way. Number 3. 86 tortoises, not 85, 86, we counted. Back in 2005 in northern Israel, a tomb of a shaman, who we believe was a 45-year-old woman at the time of her passing, was found in a cave. Again, I imagine this was a quite jarring discovery. Just like, there were the remains of 28 others as well. So again, it was a beautiful cave tomb. She had a 6-stage burial, it seems. There were beautiful decorations, but something that really stood out, aside from the 28 others and the, beautiful tomb, were the 86 tortoise bodies lying around. Signs of an epic feast from many, many moons ago. That's a odd image to walk into. Whoever this woman was, there was one hell of a party at the end of her days. Everyone's eating tortoises like crazy. On one hand though, imagine finding the shells of 86 ancient tortoises. Tortoisei? That's jarring. I'd be like, Mario, what did you do? What happened in this cave? Number 2, Newgrange. Or Newgrange. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. Here we go. Heading over to the beautiful Ireland for this one. Newgrange is this massive circular tomb. It's an ancient mound protruding from the earth. Now the tomb is roughly 5,200 years old, meaning that this passage tomb in the Boyne Valley is older than Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids of Giza. Stone Age farmers built this mound. It's 85 meters in diameter and 13 meters high, and a tomb that takes up an acre of space. What's going on inside? Don't we want to know? The passage and main chamber just happen to align with the rising sun on the mornings around the winter solstice. So that's pretty spectacular. That's some great planning. And if that's not fancy enough for you, the tomb is also surrounded in a ring of large curbstones. There's 97 curbstones that surround Newgrange, some even engraved in megalithic art. One probably says Todd was here, and you're like, people suck, really? And finally, number 1, the Terracotta Army. The tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, aka China's first emperor. Now in this tomb, we can find 8,000 statues, that's a lot of statues, but they all have unique carvings on their face, as if to suggest these are all custom made for each soldier, all 8,000. This is a very personal tomb. You're literally disturbing the dead on a level next to unheard of. 8,000 souls are trying to rest, and we're out here trying to find treasure, or another Brendan Fraser mummy plot, I don't know. The emperor believed that after he had passed away, he would have to face off against the spirit of his enemies once again after death, so he wanted to be prepared even after life was over. So the emperor decided one day to close the tomb before the workers even had a chance to get out, because he was paranoid that his enemies had already found out about this tomb. Cursed? Yeah, I would say so. Let's just shut this tomb forever and call it a day. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know.
Edinburgh vaults drop onto this list at number 5. These are a series of chamber arches that used to be the home of local taverns, cobblers, and shops, but they also have a dark side. The vaults were also known as a den full of thieves, murderers, and other nasty people. For these reasons, the vaults were one of the most dangerous parts in the city. Even to this day, ghosts and criminals are still lurking in this underground city. People who have snuck into the vaults have felt the presence grab them and pull them into other rooms, while others say that you get a really strange feeling once you go down the stairs. One of the most infamous ghosts in the vault is known to throw rocks at you, and he's gonna follow you around the tunnel until you leave. Number 4 takes us to the Cecil Hotel. This creepy hotel is located in downtown LA off the Skid Row, which makes it even more scarier. This building has a dark history of murders, suicides, and unexplained deaths. Do you guys know who Elsa Lam is? Well, she is a woman who mysteriously vanished somewhere in this hotel. When the police did their investigation, they came across this surveillance footage. Take a look at this. Nearly 3 weeks after she vanished, her body was found inside one of these water tanks on top of the hotel. There were a ton of theories about how she died. Some think that she died from a paranormal elevator game, and others believe that the cursed hotel possessed her. So ever since people have been complaining that this hotel is possessed or cursed, and if anyone stays there, something bad will happen to them. Diving into number 3, we have an underwater ghost town inside of Banff National Park in Alberta, Canada. There is a lake that has a secret beneath its surface. There is a scary underwater ghost town with a lot of mysterious doors. If you're brave enough, I'm not brave enough, you can actually put on a scuba gear and go exploring. But I have to warn you, a lot of unexplained occurrences have happened there. Some divers reported that as soon as they opened one door, their oxygen ran out. Another diver's face mask cracked, and someone's breathing piece just broke off. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty happy with not seeing this underwater ghost town. I'll just Google search it and try to look for images. A gallery storage room breaks into this list at number 2. This is a painting called The Hands Resist Him. It's probably the creepiest and scariest painting that you're ever going to see, but it's also known as one of the most haunted paintings of our time. It was painted by an artist named Bill Stoneham, and he created it as a way to express his feelings about being adopted. The painting was purchased back in 1974 from an art gallery, but the family who bought it had no idea what was in store for them. Within a matter of years, the owner of the art gallery, the person who bought the painting, and the art critic who wrote about the painting just mysteriously died. The creepy painting resurfaced on eBay, and for some reason, it was sold again. The new owner said that the figures in the artwork came to life at night. Some people who looked at the painting blacked out immediately, and they suffered from a physical illness shortly after. For those reasons, the painting has been picked up by another art gallery, and it's locked away in their storage space. And don't worry, they don't have any intentions of going into that room or displaying that evil painting. Chernobyl makes it into number 1. Inside of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, under reactor room 217, there is something called the elephant's foot. This is an extremely radioactive mass of corium that was created during the Chernobyl disaster in 1986. The elephant's foot is still melting into the base of the building, and if it hits the ground, it could trigger another explosion or leak radioactive material into the nearby water that people drink. This is what happens if you step foot into this room. After 30 seconds of exposure, you'll feel extreme dizziness and tiredness that's going to last you for a week. 2 minutes exposure and your cells will soon begin to hemorrhage. 4 minutes, you will have uncontrollable vomiting, diarrhea, and fever. And if you manage to last 300 seconds, you will have 2 days to live. For those reasons, this place has been sealed shut, but it is still being closely monitored.
In our number 5 spot today, we have the Gates of Guinea. In the world of voodoo, the souls of the dead live in an area of the underworld called Guinea, and they must pass through this area in order to reach the deep waters, where they'll be reunited with their ancestors. Before they reach the deep waters, however, they are the most susceptible to being zombified by hoodoo magicians, which is why they must pass through the 7 gates before this happens. Once through the 7 gates, they'll meet the spirit called Baron Samedi, who is the one who presides over Guinea. Once they meet the spirit, he will guide them into the world of the dead. Some people believe that the 7 gates are a spiritual thing, but others believe they exist in the real physical world in New Orleans. Here's where things get freaky though. The gates have to be passed through in the proper order. If passed through in the incorrect order, the gates can allow dangerous spirits to enter the world of the living, where they will then grab humans to drag down with them into the underworld. There's a traditional voodoo rhyme that goes along with this that is said to describe the proper timing for opening the gates of Guinea, and that is 7 nights, 7 moons, 7 gates, 7 tombs. The final important part of this process is that the guardian at each gate needs to have respects paid to them, so if you're ever passing through the gates of Guinea, just keep that in mind.
In spot number 4 is Centralia, Pennsylvania. This door to hell is located in Pennsylvania underneath the cracked asphalt of one of the town's streets. Under these streets is an underground coal mine fire that was first set ablaze in 1962, and it just may continue burning for another couple hundred years, or maybe forever if it really is the entrance to hell. It is unknown exactly how the fire has started, which is the topic of many arguments, but it quickly burned through all of the old networks of shafts and tunnels. years. After the fire started, sinkholes began to appear all over, and steam plumes, which were full of lethal amounts of carbon monoxide, began to rise from the ground. People started to compare what was going on underneath the city to what hell must be like. Once 1984 rolled around, the government began urging people to leave the city and even claimed to help with relocating costs. But as of 2013, there were 8 residents who refused to leave, and they ended up settling a lawsuit that included a $349,500 settlement and the right to reside in the town until the end of their lives.
In our number 3 spot today we have the Darvaza gas crater. Before I dive into this one, guys, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video so far, because it really helps us out. The Darvaza gas crater has been nicknamed the door to hell for a pretty good reason. This crater is located in Darvaza, Turkmenistan, and it serves as a popular destination for tourists to go and see. The crater is the aftermath of the field being drilled into because it was thought to be a substantial oil site, but quickly after they discovered its natural gas pocket, it ended up collapsing. It is said that the fire was lit by geologists who wanted to prevent the spread of methane gas. It looks so cool, but one of the craziest things about it is that it has been burning since 1971. The scientists originally predicted that it would burn for a few weeks, but it has been over 50 years. The crater is 69 meters or 226 feet in diameter and is 30 meters or 98 feet deep. One random but kind of creepy fact about the crater is that camel spiders flock to it in the evening because of its light and warmth, but they often end up falling in to their death. That was dark.
Taking over the number 2 spot is Mount Asor, Japan. Mount Asor is the name that relates not to just one single mountain, but an entire mountainous area. The name of it translates to Mount Fear, and this area is known as the entrance to the afterlife because it features all of the geographical elements that are similar to the Japanese Buddhist descriptions of both paradise and hell. Not only is the area home to 8 symbolic mountainous peaks, but also a lake and highly acidic water that only one species of fish can survive in, and none other than a bunch of pits of vipers. Beyond this, however, there is a river that is known as the boundary between earth and hell. This is where all the souls must cross in order to reach the afterlife, and if you were to visit the area, you would find statues and offerings along the banks of the river, which are intended to help the past souls find their way on the journey, because it is definitely not good if the souls get lost along the way. Every year from July 22nd to the 24th, those wanting to communicate with the dead will head to the temple located here to speak with spiritual mediums.
And in our number 1 spot today we have Fangdu. Fangdu is located in China and is also often referred to as the City of Ghosts. For a long time it has been believed that this is where the dead stop on their way towards the afterlife, and it is here where they must pass 3 tests in order to pass on to their next life. The first test is for the newly departed soul who must cross over the bridge of helplessness, which is meant to judge their virtue. There are demons there who judge whether the soul is good or bad, and the good ones can pass while the bad ones are pushed into the water below. The ones who pass the first test go on to the ghost torturing pass, where they present themselves for judgment in front of Yanluo Wang, who is a Chinese deity who is also ruler of the underworld. If they pass the judgment test, then the third and final trial takes place at the Tianzi Palace, where they will stand on a certain stone on one leg for 3 minutes. This is because it is said that only a good soul can accomplish this, while an evil one will fail and be condemned to hell. Other than being the site for these 3 tests, Fangdu also now has many temples and shrines which hold paintings and sculptures that depict people being tortured for their sins. So all of this really goes to show exactly why people believe why this place just may be the entrance to the underworld.
Next up in our number 5 spot, the Sphinx. This world famous statue is no secret to archaeologists and tourists alike, but as it turns out, there is more than meets the eye with this peculiar lion-human hybrid. Under the left ear of the Sphinx lies a small chamber named the Hall of Records. Legend has it the Hall of Records contains documents pertaining to unknown ancient civilizations and even the proof of Atlantis. Well, that is according to clairvoyant Edgar Cayce. No one has ever been able to get past past the chamber to prove what lies on the other side, and the Egyptian government is in no rush to let anyone try. I for one am dying to know what is behind this door, but it seems like we'll just have to wait and see if anyone is able to prove the visions of Edgar Cayce once and for all. Next up at number 4, Area 51. The scapegoat for many conspiracy theories, Area 51 is the top secret Air Force facility in Nevada, long thought to be the location of many unexplained phenomena. But not too long ago, thanks to Google Maps, a picture of a rather large crater in the area started circulating the internet. Conspiracy theorists from around the globe quickly chimed in, believing the crater to be an entrance into a top secret underground military base. Now, if you take a closer look, it does look like there's some kind of object poking out of the center, resembling some kind of man-made tower or something, but considering that this is inside Area 51, I'm not so sure we will ever really know the truth about this strange passage. Next up, coming in at number 3, Machu Picchu. High in the Andes Mountains lies Machu Picchu, an ancient citadel and the most viewed tourist location in Peru. But recently, a bone-chilling discovery has been made. Through the power of electromagnetic equipment, a strange chamber appears to have been concealed behind the walls of the popular attraction. But despite many appeals, the Peruvian government refused to allow the door to be opened. Do they know something we don't? What lies behind the door remains completely unexplored, and since its discovery has been strictly prohibited, and anyone who attempts to trespass will be sure to get a huge fine. I don't know about you, but it definitely feels like they're hiding something from us, but I guess the bigger question is, do we really want to know what? Coming in at number 2, Mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang. Buried deep in China and surrounded by an underground moat poisoned by mercury lies the tomb of China's first emperor. Discovered in 1974 by a group of 5 brothers, they found the mausoleum protected by over 7,000 terracotta warrior statues, but to this day the actual tomb containing the remains of Qin Shi Huang remains a mystery. Despite not even entering the locked door, all 5 brothers died young, and many believe they were cursed upon discovering the tomb. Ancient writings depict the tomb containing an entire underground kingdom, but we'll never know for sure unless someone is able to get past the underground Mercury River without dying and open the tomb to see for themselves. And coming in at number 1, we have the Padmanabhaswamy Temple. In Kerala, India lies a grand temple containing 6 sealed underground vaults. Now, since its discovery, 5 of the vaults have actually been opened. Inside they found treasures, jewels, and gold worth millions, but there still remains one vault they have not been able to crack. Legend suggests that a spell is what is required to get the last door to open, hence why the same prying methods used on the other 5 have been unsuccessful. Even more, the story says that anyone who tries to pry open the door by force will be cursed for all eternity. Researchers are no closer to opening this mysterious door, but experts believe that it could hold treasure that the world has never seen before.
We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the smallpox vaults. Back in the day, the smallpox virus took the lives of millions. It was super deadly and contagious. In fact, it has been linked back to ancient Egyptian times, as it was found in the tombs of Egyptian mummies. Many pharaohs and queens died from smallpox. Thankfully, it isn't around to this day, but it sorta is. So tiny amounts of this disease are frozen inside of a top secret military bioweapons facility in America and Russia. They claim they are saving these samples to make better vaccines in case smallpox ever returned. But it's concerning. These countries could literally use these samples in a biological warfare, and we would all be screwed. But anyways, for now they are safely locked away in these vaults, in which you should never open. All we need is this virus getting unleashed. Moving on to number 4, we have Onkalo Nuclear Waste Facility. After running into the problem of not knowing where to store toxic waste, a Finnish company has come up with a solution. Basically, they are burying their toxic nuclear waste in a huge underground facility. Once this room is completely full, they will seal it off forever. Okay, I mean, this one is self-explanatory. Opening up a storage of nuclear waste would be highly deadly. If any of that got out, it could end in tragedy. Now here's the thing. It's said that this storage site will only be able to hold the waste for 100,000 years. So we're good, but in 100,000 years, the new humans on Earth are screwed. Or maybe they'll be so advanced that it won't be a thing they need to worry about. In our third spot, we have the tomb of Yin Shi Huang. In 1974 in China, a group of farmers were digging around when they came across a life-size terracotta soldier. After that, archaeologists spent 4 decades excavating the site. They found an army of thousands of these terracotta soldiers. Experts say there's more than 8,000 of them. The soldiers are guarding the tomb of Yin Shi Huang, and the tomb is off limits to everyone, including scientists. This is because it's rumored that it's protected by deadly booby traps. Not only that, there is a high concentration of mercury in the tomb, which is deadly for anyone if they enter without the proper equipment. So the tomb is off limits for any and everyone, and the entrance remains sealed off forever. In our second spot, we have Padmanabhaswamy Temple. This is a Hindu temple located in India. It was built in the 16th century as a holy shrine to Mahavishnu. Later on, the kings of Travancore renovated it. Now, this temple contains 6 vaults. One of the vaults hasn't been opened since the 16th century. In 2011, 5 out of the 6 vaults were open, and they found an abundance of wealth. They were filled with gold and jewels and coins. Everything in total added up to $1 trillion. So you would think they would want to open the 6th vault, right, to see what treasures it holds too? No, they don't even dare to enter this vault. This vault is referred to as Vault B. So the entrance to this vault is decorated with 2 cobras. Legend goes that in the 1920s, someone tried to enter the door to this vault, but failed after a cobra came out of nowhere and killed them. Not only that, but some believe that this vault is protected by a fatal curse. This cobra might have been part of that curse. So yeah, I can see why it remains sealed off. And in our number 1 spot, we have Banff Springs Hotel. Banff Springs is a beautiful location in Banff National Park, Canada. It's considered a luxury mountain resort. But here's the thing, this hotel is said to have a very tragic past. So there's a legend surrounding room 873. Room 873 on the 8th floor of the hotel is mysteriously missing. There's no room 873, it just skips it. Well, legend goes that in 1928, a married couple and their daughter checked into the hotel, but they never checked out. The father ended up taking the lives of his wife and daughter before taking his own life. Anyone that stayed in room 873 claimed that it was haunted. They would wake up to hear the sounds of screams or find bloody handprints on their bathroom mirror. As a result, the room was sealed up. They don't want anyone staying in this room. Now here's the freaky part. If you go to the 8th floor, there's a spot where you can see where room 873 used to be. Even if you knock on the wall, it's hollow, which means there is a room behind the plastered wall. That is so freaky. I'm glad that they're keeping that room sealed forever. Alright guys, that's all for today's video. Let me know which one of these stories creeped you out the most. And now let's move on to our comment shout out portion. I'll be shouting out comments from the video top 10 banned creepy places where people went part 3. MW commented, so maybe this makes me want to go check out those places. Dude, I literally gave you a list of reasons why you shouldn't go to any of those places and you're like, let's go there. Death sounds fun. No. Master X commented, a Starbucks in Portland, Oregon should be on that list. Why? Are there like Karens in the Starbucks? They like run the Starbucks? Maybe that's why. I hate salty kids. Oh my god, that name. Commented, I'm eating a chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A while in an abandoned asylum. Hold up, the first half of that I was like, yeah, chicken, you go. And then it's like, while in an abandoned asylum. Do you go there for fun? Do you watch our videos there for fun? We literally have a video on why you shouldn't go to abandoned asylums too. But you do you. Alright guys, that's all the comments I'm gonna shout out for today's video. Make sure to comment something down below for a chance to be featured in my next comment shout out. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Most Amazing Top 10 for more amazing videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and I'll see you when I see ya.
Want to see more videos like this one? Check out this video next. It's about mysterious ancient artifacts that scientists just can't quite explain. Click the video now to find out more. What are you waiting for? See you guys in the next video.